A little, right as you pushed record.
Got a little frog this morning.
Huge frog. Okay.
Hello again. I am Beth.
Deb.
And you're Deb. It's
frog.
Beth and Deb show. And we are going to talk this morning within our grad school series about letters of recommendation. So I can't think of any program that doesn't require letters of recommendation.
Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
Every program and even jobs require letters of recommendation. So even if you maybe don't want to go to grad school, this is going to be an important one for you to hear as well.
And usually it's about 3.
3 is typical. And, you know, I sometimes get the question, who should my 3 be?
Yeah.
What do you respond with? And I'll share what I do.
I say, well, typically it would be like at least 2 professors that you've worked closely with, and then maybe like a work supervisor or somebody else who just like knows you really well, who's not a family member, but maybe knows you in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
Yep, that's almost exactly what I say. 2 professors, any kind of outside supervisor, not a family member.
Right.
And if you don't know who could be your 3rd, then ask one of your professors. But today, I think we should talk about what is the best way to get a great letter from your professors, right?
Yeah.
So we have 3 tips that we want to share that we often talk with students about. And the first is get to know your faculty members, get to know your instructors, and not just in class, because even though you might feel like you know them because they're talking or sharing in class, they may not know you well. So what do you tell students to get them to get to know faculty?
Well, I think one really important thing is, if possible, take courses from core faculty members who are not adjuncts, because recommendation letters will have a little more weight when it's coming from somebody who's like at the institution, and we all know there are so many adjuncts these days who just teach like 1 or 2 classes here and there.
So the people that are listed on the website.
Yes, on the website, they're assistant, associate, or full professors within their department. They work there full time. That's the best, or that's the first step, is to take as many classes with them as possible. Take more than 1 class from the same professor.
Great.
And when you go to class with them, be a stellar student. Speak up in class, participate, do great work. Don't just slouch in, slouch out.
Yeah.
You may get good grades, but if they don't know your face, if they have never talked to you personally, they're not going to know what to say about you as a person. So that would be the first.
They'll write a letter, but it'll just be generic.
Yeah.
And you have to remember that, admissions committees see a ton of letters of recommendation.
Yes.
And if they're just kind of the run-of-the-mill, yeah, she did well in my class, or he, was a good student, it's just going to look like plain vanilla.
Yeah, we see letters that are, this is the top 3rd, like in the top 3 students I've ever had, and they just like gush about the student.
Yeah.
And then you see ones that are like, well, I can't, like, she can write well, or whatever, that's just, it's clear that they don't have a lot of knowledge about that student's skills, or they didn't work closely with them. So that's important. So how can you, outside of the classroom, like beyond being a stellar student, beyond approaching your professor during office hours and things like that, like making every attempt to kind of make those connections in the classroom environment, what would you suggest students do beyond the classroom?
Well, I think every faculty member is working on projects, whether it's a writing project, a research project, a service project, anything like that. And I say, you show up and you say, hey, I'm interested in this. Do you have any projects? Or maybe you look on their website and, show up to office hours and say, hey, I know that you do parent training, right? I'm interested in working with kids. Can I join a project, or can I help in some way? Those sorts of very specific things that you kind of go above and beyond for makes a paragraph
Yeah.
in the letter of recommendation that that faculty member can write. So if I have a student who works closely with me on a project, I have a whole paragraph that I can say, she met deadlines immediately, took feedback well when I asked to do something different. So I usually want students to join a project, do some sort of service learning that they can kind of share with me. And if their interests don't align with mine, I can still write a letter, but maybe the main letter of recommendation comes from a different faculty member that they have that interest with.
Yeah, and even if you don't have faculty members who have your exact interests, you can still work on their projects. You're going to learn skills and build a relationship with them, even if you're kind of interested in something different, but you'll get good experience just working with whatever. And I think that also it's not a bad idea to directly approach, if you really like a professor and you think that you'd like to learn more from them, just approach them and ask if they would be your mentor.
Oh, I love that.
And say, hey, I'm hoping to go to graduate school, or even if you don't know, I might go to graduate school in the future, or I just want to explore what there is. I'd love it if, you could mentor me in what I need to do going forward. And I would say most faculty members would be really open to that kind of straightforward asking.
Yeah, I think so too. So get to know your faculty, be a stellar student, not just an A student who does work behind the scenes. You participate in class, you have meaningful, critical evaluation of the material. We have a pretty strong BS meter, so don't suck up, but just be present, be active in class.
Give it your all. Live up to your full potential.
Live your best life. So second idea that we want to share is to give plenty of time. So ahead of time what your deadlines are. There's a lot of things that are irritating, but one thing that's kind of irritating is if students say, hey, in 2 days I have to submit this. Can you write me a letter? Mm-hmm. I usually tell students 2 weeks. What do you tell them?
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah, so give us the deadline for it and say, hey, we still have 2 weeks, but I wanted to just kind of approach you about this letter of recommendation. Mm-hmm. So give them plenty of time. Tip number 2.
Yeah, and that's not to say that if something comes up at the last minute, you learn about some kind of opportunity that needs a recommendation, it's not like we wouldn't do that for you last minute. But if it's a thing, an application you're going to be turning in ahead of time, don't wait.
Yeah,
that doesn't look good.
No. Yeah. And number 3, I think, is give them information about you.
Yes.
Even if they know you, I have a document that I have students fill out that tells me, what their GPA is, what's their future goals, and we can share that. And I would recommend you just fill that out for any faculty member and just kind of send it along, mm-hmm. because it tells the instructor, this is the deadline, this is the type of program that it is, this is the program it is, here's the deadline for it, so that the faculty member can have a sense of who they're addressing it to and what you want them to focus on, mm-hmm. Because that helps write a better letter.
Yeah, and it's just reminders, if you can just outline maybe the work that you've done with the faculty member, mm-hmm. it just saves us a little bit of work. You know your work best. No matter how much I know a student, they're always going to know what they've done better than I do.
Yeah, and they know the program that they're applying to.
Yeah.
And I always ask, I ask, okay, so what do you want me to focus on about who you are? Mm-hmm. Do you want me to focus on that you're, you love to read and you're really interested in learning more? Or do you want me to focus on your feedback and your ability to accept feedback? And so I usually ask students to tell me a little bit about what they want me to focus on in the letter. Cool. So there's a few ideas. If you have other ideas about having great letters of recommendation or things that you've tried, we'd love for you to send us a message.
Comment on our videos, comment on Instagram or Facebook page, and we will respond back to you. Were you going to post that template?
Yeah.
Okay. So
we'll
look
have directions for that too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.